I'm Bailey,
I'm Joe.
And I'm Evan.
and welcome back to another episode of Digital Delights. Today, our three brains will come together to yet again make another game title and design it from scratch.
This week, I have a noun.
This week, I have a verb.
And this week, I have an adverb.
That's right, everyone. We got three words coming this week, and the fun part for us is that neither of us know the other person's word until we start the show. So we got to roll with it, no matter how weird the game title is. How you boys doing today? Good?
I'm chilling.
Saucy as always.
Yeah, I kind of went on a roller coaster tonight because we had a guest and they kind of dropped last minute. And, Evan right now is kind of my literal neighbor. So I thought, you know what?
He called me and he was like, Evan's probably not doing anything. He doesn't have any friends, right? Let me call him.
Yeah, so I called him like 30 minutes ago and now here he is. So what's up?
I'm chilling, man, chilling with my literal neighbor. I felt like if I stick my head out my window, I could probably say hi to you. But whatever. I'm happy to be here once again.
Pesky screens. I normally prepare, like what have you been working on recently? What have you been doing, and what are you all about? But you've been on twice, and I didn't have time to prepare because it's been a half hour since I called you. So, what have you been up to recently with the comic book world?
Oh, in the comic book world, to be honest, with school picking up and ROTC, it's been really hard for me to stick to like the current things that are coming out. Most recently, I've just read like 20 issues back to back of Savage Avengers, which is my new favorite series. It's like an Avengers team consisting of Conan, Wolverine, Venom, Elektra, and Punisher. So it's just extra badass, you know? But beyond that, I'm still doing some collecting, still doing some posting. Most of the stuff I'm buying online, I'm shipping to my house in advance so I don't ship them here because I'm going to be home soon for Thanksgiving, right? But beyond that, everything is good. Just grinding at the grindstone. You know how it is here in college.
Yeah, man. We're excited to have you back. We're gonna make a crazy game right now. But Joe, what games you been playing this week, my man?
I'm trying a hard grind in Valorant still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a rough ride because I keep jumping from like 5-mans to just be playing by myself, like back and forth. So I guess like the game has like a hard time putting me in the right spot because it's constantly confusing the elo of me and everybody else with just my individual. So it's gonna be a rough road unless I decide, whether to just stick with the 5-man and not really play as competitively as I used to, or just actually just full throttle it by myself and just go ham.
Yeah, I you know how I feel about Valorant, but I feel that with the ranked grind, like I cannot solo queue. It's not nearly as competitive, but I cannot solo queue in Apex ranked anymore. Like it's so terrible to get dropped and SBMM'd with someone that's bad to try and carry them. It sucks. But I did play the Call of Duty Cold War beta over the past couple days, and it was pretty promising. Actually, I mean, a lot of people have mixed feelings about it, but the things that are really good about it are really, really good about it. Like the spawning is better than in Modern Warfare. The TTK is slightly better. A few of the bad things are like most of the guns are trash and a few of the guns are clearly good. But I mean, it's beta, so I'm hoping it'll get better. But I've kind of been on the AAA gaming grind this week, which kind of sucks. But whatever. When it's exciting,
I didn't even realize they had a beta. Like, I actually am just so out of the loop because of school and everything that I just can't believe I had no idea they had a beta. Like, I would have been on top of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I mean, I think like if we were to rank the CODs, I have a very unpopular opinion of putting Modern Warfare in F tier. I think it's one of the worst Call of Duties ever. But Call of Duty Cold War is really promising, and I want to see where it goes. But enough of the AAA garbage. You boys ready to make a wild game?
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah.
A little unprecedented, but Evan is actually going to go first with an adverb, and then I'm going to go with a verb, and then my main man Joe over here, the guy, is going to go with his noun. So I guess Evan, whenever you're ready, go ahead and kick us off.
Absolutely, super excited to go. Really quickly before we get going, I'm so out of the video game world that when you guys said beta, I thought you were insulting each other. I was so confused.
Yeah, I was playing Call of Duty Cold War beta.
Joe is such a beta. Bailey is such a beta. I was dying. I'm dying on mute. But anyway, my adverb.
When you said absolutely, I thought that was your adverb, and I was like, is that an adverb?
I don't think that counts.
But anyway.
Anyway, okay, let's see. All right, I had some. What was I gonna do? All right, so my adverb is quickly.
Remember.
S.T.A.R.
Quickly remember S.T.A.R.
Fuck.
That's a wacky one.
See, I have a good cop out for us already.
Oh, cop outs.
No. Like nothing to do with changing anything that was just said.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we make S.T.A.R an acronym for something.
Or a person.
Or a person.
All right. This has been a behind the scenes rule, I think, that we've done before, but I've never said out loud. Where we're like, we could do this cop out and do this thing, but so let's make a rule right now in the official Digital Delights dictation that says no cop outs.
No cop outs.
No cop outs. For simplicity, though, like in readability, I think that we need another word in there, unless if S.T.A.R is an acronym or a name, like the or something. Like quickly remember the S.T.A.R or a star. Unless if S.T.A.R is a name, what do you boys think?
I don't know. I'm lost. Thinking real hard though, like to see if like if we threw like A in front of it, right? Like you were saying before, like quickly remember a star. We could make it astrology based, kinda. You know what I mean? Like we could take this game into like a whole world of, the study of the stars and the way they align and what they show and what they reveal. And then you could even take that to mythical and unreal, You could take that to another different direction. You could go like you can go like what's the word I want to call astral? Like astral, like
Astral.
astral, yeah. We want to go out
If you were
there.
to go with,
Well, no, go ahead, Evan. Go ahead.
if you were to go with some sort of acronym off the top of my head, I'm just thinking S.T.A.R, maybe science and technology, armada, resistance.
Damn, dude.
So some kind of space force.
So you're thinking like he comes in here and he's like, just off the top of my head, and then lists 4 absolutely wild words. You wait, say that. Okay, you made a record. This is now the second episode. I'm writing notes. What is the acronym that you just thought of?
All right, so S.T.A.R. So the S is science, and then the T would be technology. A, armada. R, resistance. So maybe it's some sort of space force, like Guardians of the Galaxy esque, like kind of bullshit, where there's like they like defend against alien threats to Earth or something like that, and they're like revered as war heroes or something like that, and they have like legends that can come into the remembered or part of it, like some real military style bravado. I mean, wait, isn't Space Force an actual branch now? I don't know. Like,
yeah,
you could go with that.
I don't know, ROTC, Evan, is it?
Not my branch. Not my branch. I like the classic Army. Thanks.
I like that. When you say, maybe if you're a legend enough to be remembered, we could take a twist on that and maybe the players, maybe if it's a multiplayer type cooperative game, the players can call upon like abilities of the past star force
Absolutely.
and like use them, like channel their energy and stuff, and like in remembrance of them.
Us generals in the army and other branches, a star is the shape of your rank if you're a general. And maybe with the word quickly, some form of game objective can be to rank up as fast as possible or as much as possible.
That's really good. That's a cool like mechanic maybe, where if you level a character up all the way, they're like remembered by everybody, so like other characters can channel their energy.
Channel their wisdom like the Avatar.
Yeah, dude. Joe, you look like you're plotting.
No, I'm just like listening to both of you right now. I'm trying to see if there's like, if I have anything else to add. But so far everything sounds good. Like I'm kind of stumped on this one right now, but like I'm really thinking hard on what Evan said regarding a ranking system, because like I'm thinking my gears are turning, so I'm gonna let them turn till something clicks. Eventually something's gonna click. Something's gonna click. I'll hear like the midnight clock chime in my brain. I'll be like, all right, I got it.
It never not clicks for you, Joe. You got this, buddy.
It gets there. It could be slow. It could be fast. We don't know. It gets there.
Yeah, Evan brought up ranked, and that just reminded me I gotta go hop in Valorant. So I'll see you guys later.
Who says I'm not in right now?
Bailey tricked me into an hour-long phone call with Joe.
I feel like there's something missing, because we're talking about potential game mechanics and things that will be in the actual game, but we're not solidified on this story yet. Because I also really like something that Joe said earlier, where you make it like very astral oriented, which is still what Evans was going for, but I really like when he said something like astral oriented and like I think you said something about like constellations or something like that, Joe.
Yeah, it was basically saying we can take, like, if we were going back like to what we about adding like a or the in front of like the word, but let's say we didn't do that anymore. We still use what we're currently using S.T.A.R for, which is the acronym thing. If we're taking that, right, and we could still relate this story to, some character, right? And this character just can be you, in general. As you stare up into space, right, and you're looking at all the stars, seeing everything all above you, you think to yourself, what's really out there? Are these lights really all that's for show? Is this all we can tell about what's out there? Yeah, sure, that giant bright light right there is a planet, and this even brighter one can be called the sun during the daytime. But realistically, what else is there? Do we really know? We just have some nice pictures of what's near us, right? But what's past there? We're still looking. We're still trying to find out. At least as of 2020, we only know so much. But, you want to see more. Technology's getting there. And they're letting people eventually head up into space, right? So guess what? You get older, time passes to a near future, for us at least, potentially, and you're going to space. But you have an AR in your hand. It's time to get out there. It's time to see what's out there.
All right, I'm gonna rewind.
Go on your free will, or the space draft will get you. You're going to space whether you like it or not. God damn it.
I'm getting space drafted, babe. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. The only way you can get out of it is by spending 1,000 space bucks, but you have to go to space in order to get it. So.
It's easier to get a concealed carry in space, trust me.
Now hold on. You could get it for only 100 V-bucks, but you gotta spend money.
Fuck off. I want to take a step back. Basically, everything you said until you said the word AR. I I was thinking everything you were just describing made me think of one and two actually games. One of which being Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy, specifically the third. That's the one I played the most and the most recently, where you play as Commander Shepard and you're traversing the universe trying to stop this gigantic like galactic civil war and people getting destroyed by aliens. But that's not the point. The point is there's this travel system on the Normandy, the ship you're on, where you launch from different like space centers. And then I thought of the game Flow, which is pretty old. It was made by that game company back in, I think, like 2011 or 2012. And you link these different chains of lights together in these really like beautiful fashion. And then it got me thinking of the constellations, where there's a different star unit inside of every constellation. And when you see them launched from Earth, in all those astral projections, you see someone drawing like lines in the constellation, so you can actually see it. That happens like in the game. So when something gets launched from a star unit, you see the constellation get drawn out because it's drawing power from the stars and launching the star force out of it to go somewhere in the universe.
I'm really glad you said that. I was literally just thinking, like, what if the constellations were like a battle map or something like that,
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a different star unit at every constellation. So if you're looking at Orion, and there's a star unit there, they launch to the Little Dipper. And so Orion gets outlined from Earth, so you can see that the boys are putting in work. Our boys are putting in hard work in space, and they get launched to the Little Dipper, and then you see the Little Dipper light up. And that's just like a little art thing I thought about, but it kind of might pull the story forward a little bit. I'm trying to think of what the objective of this is, though. Is it fighting? Is it exploration? Is it trying to see if humans can live somewhere else? Like, what is the purpose of S.T.A.R? Because R means resistance. So, what does that entail? you know?
All right. Well, now that you mention it, if it's resistance, right? There's got to be something we're fighting against. So what are we fighting against, right? What's out there? Well, we've been thinking about it, right? So let's come up with something.
There's an imposter among us.
You know what?
No, we can't do that.
No. Hear me out.
Okay.
These are other humanoids, right? They come from another Earth. It's similar to ours, right? Very close. The only difference is that what they breathe in instead of oxygen is just nitrogen. That's it. Just that one little
Space
difference.
pirates, 100% that look like us. We go out, they're like colonizing the different stars and planets and stuff like that. And the Star Force or whatever it is like the anti-colonialism party, and that's what you fight for.
Yep.
That's really good. And we can make choices involved. Like, do you want to defend until you fight them off, or do you want to organize an assault and try and end it early? And we leave these different choices in the game about like different outcomes and stuff, almost like Civ. That's good. That's rich, baby.
That would be like the most legitimate warlike game ever.
Yeah, except all the space and
the
stuff.
Consequences and actions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's cool. Imagine that on like online, like where everyone is on their own side.
Make it an MMO.
Yeah, make it an MMO.
Like, what did you do? I toppled the government. Like, what did you do? It's like, I just fought until they are all dead.
Yeah, on God, I'm serious. That I can't believe I just said on God, but I'm serious. Make this thing an MMO.
Make it an MMO. That's it.
You never know, because if you make this an MMO, it is realistic, but more so than Evan said, because it's not like you're playing a story and you play the game over and over until you experience every consequence.
Hmm.
It's that you physically have no idea what the other side is planning.
Right.
So and like a day in game could go by or a week in game could go by and nothing happens, and then it's because both of you are building your defenses for no reason because no one's making an attack.
There was an imposter among us.
I love this idea.
Emergency space meeting.
Emergency space.
So what are these humanoids called? All right.
Starlings.
Starlings. Starlings.
I don't know. Just
That's
thought
a
of
start. That's a start. Fuck yeah. Star,
They're
you
called
know?
Novas.
Novas. The
it.
comic book
Novas.
man himself is coming in with
Yes.
nicknames.
Novas. Mm-hmm.
They're called novas that breathe in nitrogen
Yes.
and exhale CO2. Actually, no. No. That's too. We don't want to think about it that much.
This still fails at science. We paid a lot of attention in language arts.
Hold on.
Not the science.
If I'm thinking right, I might be dead. I might be really dead wrong here, but I'm trying to really think because I know there's not just oxygen in the air we breathe, right? There's oxygen. There's a little bit of nitrogen. There's a couple of other stuff, right? I just can't. Like, I don't want to just jump out and be like, oh, there's hydrogen in there too. So let's say screw it and just have them like make some nitrogen hydrogen combination, but I don't want to
Well,
be.
no, because you're right. I mean, I think it's like 0.7% or something of the atmosphere is like a bunch of random uh, gases and stuff.
Wait,
But
Whatever we do, they do the opposite, right?
time out. This is our planet. What am I saying? Okay, if they're breathing in nitrogen, there's just plenty of hydrogen in that air to make friggin' ammonia. Let's just say it. They breathe ammonia. That's it.
welcome to Digital Delight's Cozy Corner, episode 2. Today's lesson is from Joe, and Joe says, "Remember, this is our planet."
The power is yours.
You make it, and change it the way you want to.
But it's still ours.
But it's still ours.
I like the concept of them breathing in like nitrogen or something, but like breathing out an acidic version of that so that the actual humans can't get close to them in combat. So it's like just a threat, one of the things that make them different. And but they're in terms of intelligence and stuff, I feel like it would be interesting to make them, mirror entities of humans so that, minus maybe like a weird hue of skin tone and eye color and stuff like that, maybe like different bodily shapes a little bit, like your ears. Like you can look at them and like, or we take a step further, and if there's a Bailey here, there's a Bailey there.
And Bailey is spelled backwards, mirror dimension stuff.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Wild.
I like it.
So wait. Hold on. Their skin tone. All right. Have you ever seen nitrous being shot out of a back of a car? Right.
Yes.
That color.
Not like
That's
light
their
blue.
Yeah, that's their skin tone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I like
it's
that.
so we throw in some like Avatar like mixed in. Like here you go.
That color, you know what that color's like? You ever inverted colors on your like laptop and go like midnight mode and stuff like that? And
Yeah.
they really are the opposite. Like our colors would just be the opposite of their colors, right? And it would be like the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. I like this. I think that maybe strictly even just making it an MMO where you have a little bit of lore on the side that you can read, look into, just make it this big MMO. And that's like story in itself. Let people determine it how they want. Who's good, who's bad, that type of situation. I think that would bring us into interaction design, unless I'm wrong, Joe.
I mean, theoretically, we've been jumping around a lot so far, but I think if we just take my previous story that I said, and then we just like, you know, scratch out the AR part, or like make it funny, or so, like throw something in there, you know, and
Well, I think we put the AR back in, right?
AR comes later. We need this to sell. We're
Yeah.
getting the AR at some point.
Schrodinger's an AR.
Absolutely.
So long as we don't look, it's there.
right.
I like the minimalistic story and the maximized gameplay and experience. We've also never done an MMO before in this show, which is pretty interesting. So let's see how that goes. I think Joe will have a better understanding of designing an MMO than any of us, but unless I'm wrong.
Nah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely right.
Said with love.
Yeah, no, that's why I said it with love.
Wow.
Bitch.
Beta.
Yeah, Beta. Beta Bailey doesn't sound as good as Beta Joe.
I wonder why. No, that would bring us into interaction design, and this is the part of the show where we go over different feedback systems in the game, how each player wins and loses, and just essentially stuff like that. But we also do Q&A here, and we got one question this week. It was from a listener, and they asked. Last week we brought up just a brief topic of games that came out ahead of their time, and that I thought that certain games should have came out later, rather than when they did, because they would have been more successful now than back then. And someone asked, what games can you think of that would actually fit that category? So, I don't know if Joe, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I could do it. I'll go first. This is a very great question. Like I like these type of questions coming onto the show.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
So to start off, thinking about it, I kind of have three in mind. So, and you could bear with me on the first two probably. One, not so much. Like you might have a good argument against me for it. Two, there's no argument because I have a valid reason for it. And the third one's just my personal opinion. First game, we got Ocarina of Time that Nintendo made back in, I believe, in 1998. I might be slightly off, but I believe that game was ahead of its time because if you look back in 1998, games weren't really not just looking like that. Like they were getting to the point of looking like that, but they weren't mechanically running like that. Like they weren't like that smooth. There wasn't that in depth with any story. So I think that game was slightly ahead of its time, not by much, but because if it was released like now, kind of some issues. Granted, it was remastered not too long ago, and like that and everything looked fantastic. So I believe when they released with the remaster, I think that was a great time to bring it in. So not so much now, but like I'd say a little recent, which it has been. Now, the second game which comes to mind is Super Mario 64 because guess what? They just remade it, shipped it out, and it's a big hit. So, you know, I felt like that game was just amazing, from the time I played it, and I played it not when it came out, like not around that time. I played it a lot later when I was older. So when I played it, I was like, as a kid, I would have seen this game as like something that was completely out of this world. Like something totally new to experience, totally fun to look at. The graphics were there for the time. And the camera movement, its slight smoothness with stuff, and even just the bugs in it. The bugs were enjoyable for some cases. Even seeing your character just do something completely wonky like that, and you did it by accident. As a kid, I remember seeing those things and just laughing to myself. Like I wouldn't really let it get to me that it mess up the game because of that. It would just be funny to me. So that was just another game that I felt like couldn't really be argued because they just released it now. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And then the last game, I'm not too sure if they made a remaster for this. I might be out of the loop for it, but I would say Resident Evil 5 when it came out, if that game took more time being put into it and you know had that sense of like more in-depth story, because everything is there for that game, and I felt like it ran at its time like way too smoothly and way too well for its time. Because I remember back when I first got the PlayStation, I was playing like games like Resistance and things like that. When I played those games, I did not get as scared or not as like intimidated or like not as like feely for what was in those games compared to Resident Evil 5. Like I was more immersed into that game. And I felt like the immersion in that type of stuff is something that should be really looked at and reconsidered, possibly for some good remaster or something, later on, as of now, at least. That's all I got.
Yeah, no, I'm with you with Ocarina of Time for sure. Like for sure, I agree with you on most of that, but like Ocarina of Time especially, I that is actually the only Zelda game I've played, believe it or not. Which I know is kind of like blasphemy, but I just never got around to it, never put the time into it, and people judge me for it. Kind of same with like Final Fantasy. I wish I got into that, but there's so many games. I'm not going to catch up now. I don't want to. But yeah, no, I agree with you for sure. I also have three. Uh, Reminder just went off on my thing. Yeah, I also have three. I'm gonna go. Actually, no, I'm not gonna go in order. I want to save my favorite one for last because it's the oldest. Uh, the ones I brought up, one of them that I brought up last week, Mag. It was a game that came out on PlayStation 3 in 2010, and it was this massive like multiplayer game, strictly multiplayer game, 200 people up against each other in two teams, 128 v 128, and it was so like ideologically in terms of gameplay ahead of its time. We're to the point where I just don't think it worked. Like it didn't last. It didn't work. It fell apart. To have 256 people in a server, let alone a PlayStation 3 server, it would crash a lot. It kind of fell apart. You picked four factions. You go up against each other. It was kind of a mess, and I wish it came out now because there would be more around to support it now than back then. So that's that. Another one is Twisted Metal, which originally came out on the PlayStation 1 in 2001. It was kind of one of the first on like not online multiplayer battle royales, and it was really innovative and really fun where you were just drove around as different cars and trucks and motorcycles and essentially killed each other and just wrecked each other's shit basically. And if that were to come out now and be online, and I'm not talking about all the ones that came out after, I'm saying strictly if the first Twisted Metal came out now, it would be way, way more successful, I think, just given how popular battle royales are. Very unpopular opinion coming at you right now. World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft came out in 2004, and it had like for the time really 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 great graphics and really really great online multiplayer experience. And now currently I think that like 1,600 people can be in a server at the same time, which is pretty ridiculous. But they haven't evolved in terms of graphics, in terms of gameplay, in expansion, story, and abilities, yeah. But in terms of like what the game has grown into, nothing has really changed. And I know they came out with another version of WoW since then. But if World of Warcraft was to come out right now and not in 2004, it would make billions of dollars. It is such a good concept, and I play it, and it kind of drags me away because it's so tied to its roots that I wish it came out now so that it could be tied to its roots 10 years from now. You know, uh, and my last answer, uh, So I guess I have four. My bad. It came out in 1983. It's called Bomberman, which I'm sure everyone has heard of. But it was another one of those arcadey battle royale-esque games, but it was single player or two player in an arcade. And you're a little man named Bomberman. You walk around, drop your signature bomb, pick up power-ups in this maze, and just try and be the last one alive in the maze. And it was really interesting for the time because it was the first like really competitive maze-based game. It was really weird, but if that were to come out now, with the graphics, with the capability, with the online servers, and the popularity in battle royales, I think that it would be probably one of the most successful ones. It's a really good game, and it's been re-released several times. It got re-released on the Switch like 3 years ago, and that was good. But if it were to come out on the Switch 3 years ago first, I think it would be nutty. And those are my answers. So that's my rant for the day. What about you, Evan? You got anything?
Yeah, so I only just recently was able to start thinking about this like 15 minutes ago, right?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I think I've come up with a couple of good things. I'll say this one just because like I want to get out of the way because it's almost ridiculous. Not that there was anything wrong with it. When this game came out, it was by all means a success. I'm just really interested to see what they would do with it if it came out today and how it would be different. And that's the classic arcade game Centipede. I would love to see what a new Centipede game would be like if it came out in 2020. That would be insane. Beyond that, I started thinking about games that I loved when I was younger and that also I had qualms with that if they came out today, how would they be better? And I started thinking about Wii Sports. I just started thinking about a bowling alley and all the different things they could do with Wii Sports because it's been updated. They got like Wii Resort and or whatever, you know. So I would just love to see how they change that. And this one was the first thing I wrote down actually, and it's Guitar Hero, more specifically for the Nintendo DS, because of the amount of kids that got carpal tunnel from Guitar Hero on the DS. It's hilarious. There's a study like over 100,000 kids got carpal tunnel because they're playing DS with their crooked hand, playing Guitar Hero all hours of the night. So maybe a newer and safer way to do that.
It's been 3 years since we lost our boy. I'm sorry to hear that. What happened? He was trying to play through the fire and the flames on the DS, and it just.
I was gonna say Wizards 101 too, just because it's better. But then you made that World of Warcraft one. I was like, oh, I'll change it. I'll think of something else because it's pretty much the same reasons why I would have said Wizards 101 because I love that game.
Well, I wish you did say it. Or actually, I'm actually happy you didn't say it because this is supposed to be like a kid-friendly podcast, and Joe would have got all horny on us.
Hey, stop with that.
Joe
Okay.
loves wizardry.
Joe loves
no,
Wizard
no,
101.
because Wizard 101, I actually dabbled back into it not too long ago, and honestly, it was fun for me to go back to it to just see the nostalgia and everything. But if that game had some work done on it, all right, and then they reposted it, let's say 2-3 years from now, probably would make some cash.
No, I believe it. I remember I swindled my parents out of like $40 for a game expansion one time.
I've
$40 for what? I'm like, for a cool mount, Dad. You don't get it.
No, literally so many times I've asked for money on that shit. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was a rhino.
Your
It
dad's
was
like,
cool back then. It was the cool. You were in if you had a rhino.
your dad's like,
Alright,
Mount
that's all.
nuts.
That's all my
boy. I'm not.
answers.
You were cool if you were a tiger. If you had a tiger, you know what I mean.
Yeah, Wizards 101
I
and
kid
2.
you not, one of my mounts was a lobster. Not even joking.
All right. That was a really good question, though. So keep sending heavy hitters. That was fantastic. Interaction design, feedback systems, player winning and losing. I think this is the first time that interaction design is going to be the most important part of the game, outside of mechanics, because there's the condition where one side wins, the other side wins. There's a stalemate. There's several different feedback systems we can apply here, like health to ships, health to people, currency, employees, foot soldiers. There's so much fuel. There's so much feedback here. to get into. I don't even know where to start, you know?
Yeah, I don't even know. I would say, well, we're using trying to think. I mean, with the score, right? Are we gonna use like XP with a ranking system, right? Like, we're gonna have them have a certain amount of XP to get a certain rank, right? But with each ranking, like, what are we gonna give them, right? You know what I mean? Like, should we save that for the next one?
Uh, well, I think that is a really heavy hitting question. Uh, what if we stepped outside the box, and since it's how can we create the best immersion possible? I think if you remember back in Call of Duty War when they had a playlist called Boot Camp, and you could play if you were levels 1 through 10, so that you could get used to the game before you play against the real heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if we did something like that here, where there, except without the experience? So it was like you join the game, and there is uh, like different. You just unlock everything, but not right away. We set a bracket at the beginning, like a tutorial phase, where it's like boot camp and COD. So we give them the most important things, which we'll determine later. And then once they feel comfortable with them, they can choose to rank up to the next part where they unlock more. Then they learn how to use that. And once they're comfortable with that, you go to the final phase where you unlock everything, and then you just join the battle with people that are comfortable with everything. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't think I've ever seen that before in a game. It'd be pretty interesting and kind of good to avoid smurfing too, almost.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Um, hmm, maybe because I like what you said, and then possibly, you know, like if we were to stick with that and then think of some like customization, right? Like, how could we like customize that? You know what I mean? Like, what could we put to customize that type of stuff? I think it would be kind of cool to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you're thinking about there's a Star Wars flight simulator that came out a really long time ago. I think in like the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and it was online, and everyone had their own ship, and you would fly around and shoot other ships, and the gameplay was fucking terrible, but the experience of it was what was awesome because every in the beginning of every time you played, there would be a briefing. Like a very interesting briefing where whoever the person running it was would be pointing at a map and being like, "We're attacking here and going here and doing this." And I think in terms of customization, what would be really interesting is that if every player had their own ship or their own star squadron that had their own ship of like 4 people, and there was like a commander squadron, maybe the host of the lobby or something that ran everything. But when all is said and done and you're done planning, you're getting in your ship and you're flying, and you have to decide if you're going to follow those orders or not. So every customization is like your own ship, so you can't mess with other people's stuff. How do you feel about that,
I,
Evan?
I totally agree with you, Bailey. I was thinking the same exact thing. Well, not in as much depth as you were, but I was totally like, yeah, the customization should come in with the ships because I would imagine there's like some sort of uniform aspect if there's orders being like involved. So it's less what you wear, more what you have might be your customizations, and that would be freaking awesome. I would make mine to look much as Star Lord's Milano from Guardians of the Galaxy as possible, or Millennium Falcon. We'll see.
Joe, what about you? What do you think about that?
I'm thinking, what's it called? Probably be. I don't know. I agree with everything that's been said right now. I don't think I have anything really to like add to it right now. Like I'm trying to still think on stuff because I think everything was said was solid, and like I'm trying to add something, but I'm like, wait, no, I can't do that yet because everything else is good right now. There's nothing else to add on that could make it better or worse. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to make it worse.
What What is the game missing then? What do we need to do? Did we go through all the things, Bailey?
Definitely not.
No. We still have play rules and mechanics after this. Like,
Yeah, there's play rules, mechanics, level design, and then sound and audio and art. Like, and this is the same thing. So there's 3 more things to go over, but those things I think will be more of a breeze.
yeah.
Because this is the most important part. Like, how do people win? And in terms of customization, for like simplicity's sake, just to move on to actual feedback systems, customization is more in game rules and mechanics anyway. So we'll touch on that again. But feedback systems, it would be cool to do fuel, so that there are fuel depots across space, but that's a thing that you could take over. So like if the humans are trying to refuel at a certain spot, but the Novas took it over or are camping it out, waiting for them to fuel up, you never know when they're going to attack. So like that's a cool feedback system, because it's another aspect of you never know what's going to happen in space. Health is pretty obvious. I don't think we need to get into that. Repairing the ship, and I don't know what else. Ammo.
Ammo, definitely, for sure. Trying to think.
And then the most important part: how do people win and lose?
Let's see. Well, winning is what? When you take enough territory or hold your own? Like how? Like if this is like an MMO, right? Like how do we want to? Like, do we want to just have, XP tied to territory, like one all the time? Length of your character in terms of like how long of service they've done. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how we want to do this, right? Like what are we thinking?
I like territory being a feedback system for winning and losing, where if you take over, uh, if the humans assault enough to get maybe there's like a halfway point where if the Nova gets through Earth's atmospherical line, then the humans lose. But if the humans push the Novas back to like the halfway point of the battle, then they retreat and the humans win. So they both travel the same distance if they choose to, but the humans don't have to. They can just stay on the defense and wait it out, which would inherently make it a little easier for the humans, but we would buff the Nova to make them stronger to compensate for that, because that's something to keep in mind. But I like almost the football fieldy, yardage type feedback system for like winning and losing. Unless you have a better idea. Joe died?
No, I didn't die. I'm here.
But that's kind of what I'm feeling.
Yeah, and I'm feeling it too.
And especially for time's sake, since we haven't even moved into game rules and mechanics.
Yeah, we kind of needed to get a jump on it. You're right.
Game rules mechanics. What the player can do, what they can't do, what the enemies can do, what the enemies can't do, what allies can do, and things of the sort. This is interesting. This is, I think, where the most of the rest of our time is going to be. Because, audio visual is you're in space. and the constellations follow. It's going to be.
Imagine you were like, yeah, there's no sound in space, no sound for the whole game.
That would be haunting, honestly.
That would be terrifying.
Unless you were inside.
A closed caption game.
This is like a really intriguing design phase that we got going here. I think it's the first time I ever spent this much time thinking about interaction design.
So it's a space war.
Yeah, it's a space war.
Yeah.
but the mechanics bring me back to, I think, my last point of since the humans can choose whether to defend or uh, attack because they know that the Nova is planning to attack.
Right.
But at the same time, since it's an MMO, you never know. But the assumption here is that the Nova is going to attack Earth. So since humans are at an advantage, what can we do to the Nova to make them stronger so that it's even?
Right. Right. Um. Well, there's always the Nova have I guess like superior resistance, right? Like we were saying before, how like it would be difficult for the humans to get within close combat of them, so they always need to be within a long range. But
What if they had allies? The Nova had evil alien allies who they contracted, not unlike how like the British contracted the German Hessians in the American Revolution to do some fighting with
yeah,
them and for them.
yeah, that's true. Like we have no mercenaries in space, but
Mhm.
they'll roll up. They'll roll up mercenaries.
Like they have friends. Like space isn't our playground. We weren't there long enough. They've been here for a while, and
Yeah,
like
that's a good point.
getting into our atmosphere and taking over our Earth is just like, I don't know, like a week's work for them. So, and they just didn't expect us to have as much fight.
Mm-hmm.
The Space Force thing is starting to make sense to me now, boys. Thanks, thank you, Steve Carell.
I love that show.
I haven't watched it yet, but
It's good. You'll like
now I'm gonna because I'm scared.
it. I was just
Uh,
trying to put myself in the shoes. Like I imagine I'm playing this game. It sounds very cerebral and like horrifying. It sounds scary, not knowing.
yeah,
Right.
the unsureness of it is a really interesting mechanic that is and it is too. It is a mechanic. It's weird to say it, but unsureness is a mechanic in this game, which is pretty interesting. Uh, but Joey, you were right. I forgot that got brought up earlier. That they breathe out dangerous gas for humans, so they can't get within close range. So that's one thing. And maybe another thing we can do is like a battlefield. I mean, not battlefield, a battlefront, like Star Wars Battlefront esque thing,
Mm-hmm.
where humans have ammo because we're humans, but the Nova have like laser guns and stuff where they don't have ammo, but their guns heat up, so they can shoot more almost indefinitely, but not indefinitely because they have to pause and let their gun cool down, but they never have to reload. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
That's
I
another thing
agree.
we could do.
I think that works. Yeah, that fits in perfectly with this.
And then, after alpha testing, we'll see if we got to add anything more and, balance anything out. Beta.
Yeah, of course.
I'm double fisting different coffee cups right now. I don't know if
Wow,
you
dude.
noticed throughout the
I
show.
I thought this was a family-friendly podcast.
All right.
Yeah, I remember Bailey saying "fuck that," So
I did, yeah, but there's such thing as a fucking censor, so
That is fair.
that is fair. I hate that. I think this is. There's so many firsts recently for this show because this is the first time that I'm pissed that we set a time limit for ourselves because this is really intriguing. It's not every day that you run into like an MMO like this or a game like this. It kind of does remind me of Mag, like what I brought up earlier. This big 256 player thing where by the way, you're constantly in the server. Like their servers were constantly open, so you would like drop in, and it would be different people from your faction every time, and it was interesting. That wasn't the only game mode, but it was interesting, and that's what I'm thinking of with this. Is it's like a constant interstellar server where people come and go.
This is gonna
And
keep
if
you up at night, Bailey.
it is, yeah, I like this a lot. But with mechanics and stuff, I mean, you can pilot a ship, you can repair a ship, you can destroy a ship. Everything that you're assuming you can do in this game, you can probably do. And that's just for like time restrictions. It's a war, and you can do what you can do in war in space. And that's that really. I mean, rules we kind of touched on, mechanics we touched on. I'm more interested in level design.
Let's just jump right to it.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
Let's just jump right into it.
Let's just go.
What do we want to put in this interstellar map? Because we have fuel depots. We announced that we have ships. I'm assuming some kind of like motherboard, like hosting ship to park on. But like, what are we gonna put in the emptiness of space to make it less empty?
Well, we're filling it with stars, right?
That too.
Like if we're like I'm seeing like if we're on the mothership, right? We got, let's say, 4 different hubs, right? You have the front deck. You can see out in the observatory all the stars and everything, and that's where you could go and point out like certain territories you want to look at. So that's hub 1. Then you have hub 2, which is like your room, like your dressing room basically, and that's where you could customize all your stuff, right? Then you have hub 3, which is like the armory, which is where you could get all the equipment you need, all the like equipment for the ship that you're taking out, whatever it is, set it up like that. And then hub 4 is well, actually, you know what? Do we want to make the armory like the same thing as like a ship hub? Like, can we make something like else in hub 4? Like, if I'm thinking about it, because right now I could see the armory and the ship hub being the same thing, but if we need to separate them, we could. Anybody, any thoughts?
I just shut off the wrong thing on accident. But Evan, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, hub 4. I don't know. Maybe some kind. These are rooms, right? Is this what this is?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like a decently sized room or section of the ship. Like I just called it like hubs, just because I don't know what else to call it. We can call them like sections.
If when this game is getting like overly thought into and like really like down to the nitty gritty, maybe it could be like someplace you can go read up on the history of like why there's a fight going on and stuff like that. You know how some games have like an open book you can walk up to and read like what the heck is going on or the history of the planet, you know? So maybe something like that, like even like video archives and things like that. Maybe stuff you can use information to guide your decision making. And the
like a briefing room.
Mm-hmm. A war room, so you can
Yeah.
do some war gaming. Even that would make total sense too. Like mapped out, the constellations all mapped out, like on the floor, and you can move pieces and stuff like that. And you can talk to like little characters that are just bots, you know.
Dude, could you imagine if this game was VR?
Wild.
That would be insane. Insane.
Like someone standing in the boardroom, like the war room, and like moving pieces with their finger around and like pointing or like just it would be so funny for memes too. Just standing there, he like gets up on the table and he's like, "We're gonna do this to them and stomp on shit." Like, man, there's so much like promising ideas from this. I mean, obviously, it's something that we could never do alone.
This is going to be a game that was made ahead of its time, and we're going to be in a Q&A one day.
Damn, that's nuts.
Damn.
That was crazy. Full circle. I like for territory, since you're taking over these not constellations, as you're taking over territory. The constellations that are further out are like the launch depots. So like, we said like fast traveling to them earlier in the beginning. It would be cool if when a star goes supernova and it's orange and red. If Nova takes it over, you can't fast travel to it anymore, and that's why the star goes supernova, because we didn't know up until now, but they're taking it over.
So that's where that comes from. That's great. That's just great. A little caveat.
Yeah, that's cool. It'll be in the book.
You know, it'd be wild. I just thought about it.
That'll be in Hub 4.
You know what I thought about it? There's this one random factor that we should just throw in just because it would be interesting. Black holes, right?
Oh
my God.
Let's call them like
black holes.
Like what's it called? A random bad weather condition. I'm doing air quotes right now in the video, but
air. There's no air in space. You can't do that.
But
it's regular.
Your fingers fall off.
But anyway, let's say they're like bad weather conditions for a fight, right? So when a black hole happens, it could cause a whole drastic change of the fight. depending on positioning and stuff. And then it's just out of your control. You know what? Like, we're just making this throw it into the game because I feel like messing with everybody. So
Yeah.
You guys remember that scene in Treasure Planet, the Disney one?
I was
Disney
just gonna say that.
where the fucking star went supernova, then inverted and became a black hole, and then they rode the lightning off that bitch. That was awesome. You can
that is literally what I thought about. I was just gonna say this is starting to sound very Treasure Planet-esque.
And remember, the Crescent Moon was like a spaceport.
Yes.
Oh my,
bro.
Oh, what was the name? What was the name?
Space Pirates, the Novas.
That's so cool. Oh man, there's so much to talk about, man. I mean, spoiler alert. Episode 20, which is 2 from now, is going to be a looking back episode and picking our favorite games and our least favorite games and talking about what we changed about them. This is very high up in the running for me right now to
There's
put
so
into
much,
this.
sir. There's so much.
Yeah, but I think we got something pretty solid here. You want to wrap it up with audio visual?
Yeah, we don't got much time, so we're gonna have to breeze through it.
Yeah. I think that the visual is pretty touched on. We did that throughout the episode, I think, unless anyone wants to add anything to it.
Just a bunch of space.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. But with audio, I unironically really enjoy what Evan said, where you can't hear anything in space. But that transition between like boarding a ship, you hear the sound come back like slowly and then it fades in, so you start to hear again. Like if you're shooting in the ship and then someone falls out of the ship and it starts flying, you don't hear their gun going off anymore, but you see it. And that's crazy and tactical, which is really cool to me.
Yeah, I dig it. I like it.
Most
I like it a
accurate
lot.
to science video game in space of all time.
Yeah.
With the people from NASA, just like fact check with NASA.
I can do that. We have a connection. Professor Fanfarelli, baby.
There we go. Money.
I need to talk to someone in NASA now.
Someone who's good
like,
with
humanitarian existence? No. Video game.
I call him up and I'm like, I need to speak with NASA. Right now.
hit up your boy real quick.
Yeah, get him on the call like Evan.
Oh god.
Man, I mean, this is really, really great. I kind of want to almost tie it off here because I just don't want to add more and make it sound confusing. Honestly, I mean, this is the first time we hit our time limit, too, so.
That's true.
That's nuts. Thanks, Evan, for being a part of it. I kind of blame you.
No, absolutely. I'm going to go, like, rewatch the original trilogy of Star Wars now for inspiration. And that was awesome, guys. I love being here. You know that.
Yeah, 3 years from now, a game comes out published by
I'll be like,
Evan
someone
Fernandez.
owes me money, and I don't know who's favorite show.
Oh no, I was gonna
geez.
say that. I was gonna say that you're gonna come out with a game behind our back.
I'm nowhere near smart enough. With my criminal justice degree, give me a break. What do you mean?
Perfect. You can help us with the fights.
True.
All right, guys. I think that's all we got time for. I'm Bailey.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Evan.
See you on the next episode of Digital Delights. Check the description down below to see links to Evan's stuff, baby. Peace out.
Peace.
Yeah, baby.